Enough of all that, guys. Enough of all that. Enough of yeet. It's time to talk about Guild Wars 2, as we somehow manage to do every Sunday now. A sigh there. I told you guys this was going to be spicy. Okay, I did tell you.
Almost every Sunday.
A bit of an exhale there from our esteemed guest Zorric. Now, the general topic here is going to be about the open world, that sort of thing, like the open world situation, as a general focus, because it's a topic that I've become a little more interested in. Actually, I have been playing a bit more open world now, like taking interest in doing some of these events efficiently. I'm having a pretty good time just clowning around, going crazy in the open world, and I find myself only ever playing very specific maps, right? I don't find myself in the living story maps that often. Sometimes the only one I can think of that I frequent is stuff like the Death Branded Shatterer, right? And Path of Fire gets left out as well, except for the rather awesome event. Like, this is one of the unsung heroes, guys, of the expansion, in my opinion, is the Vavi meta. I love the Vavi meta, man. Like, everyone says, oh, it's so bad, but it was, it's trash, it's impossible, you can't do it. It's horrible. No, I actually really like it. I really like it, guys. Yeah, I'm not going to cut myself off, okay, midstream to tell people to refresh because of the weird Twitch hosting bug. We're not going there, guys, okay? But I just wanted to talk a little bit on this team about kind of like the hit and misses of open world and the way that I think there is a general consensus that the open world content has become a bit safe, a bit generic, and certainly gone a bit downhill in terms of the event content, like the meta events, the bosses, and the encounters, stuff like that. And yeah, that's what the topic of the conversation is going to be, as a baseline starting point here for this weekend's show. So yeah, I guess I'll just open it up from there. So actually, you know what? Let's not going to open it up. I want to hear what's behind that exhalation from Zorric. Actually, why don't you just what are your thoughts on the current state of open world and the content flow in terms of the baseline of the Guild Wars 2 there?
It's boring. It is just boring. There is nothing that is keeping players in the open world. There's the grind, the farming, that kind of stuff, but like, it's become boring. There's just nothing that drives players to some place. And then when there is a good farm, ArenaNet will nerf it, of course, because it's too good. They want us to go everywhere else, but the problem is jumping around map to map every day or every time you play just gets to a point where it's just like, wow, this is eating bread with cornstarch. Like, that's what it has become. It is very cookie cutter, and even after the last episode, a new map. How can a new map within days start giving you the same feeling? Like, just days. And every time I log in, I want to farm, but it just, after a few times, it just doesn't feel. And I'm very casual about it too. I'm just logging in, doing my dailies, getting my home instance, that kind of stuff. And I do it every day. But when I want to go out and like actually do things, the only thing that drives me forward is playing with other people. But if those people aren't on, then there's no drive. And so the worst thing I'm seeing right now is all these vets feeling that way and quitting the game. And since they're quitting the game, other people are quitting the game. And now we're in this period that happens every time. We're going to have Super Adventure Box, this coming Thursday or whatever, and it's going to bring players back, but it's mostly solo content still that's going to be stale within days. 3 days, by the Monday, people are just going to be like, yeah, same thing.
Can we talk about the trailer?
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Did you like the trailer?
A Choya doing Rocky Balboa. Hold on, what did World of Ender say? What did he say?
I don't know what he said.
Rocky Balchoya or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
That's what it was, right? They just had the Choya tonic, so they're going to offer probably
any SAB content at all. Because I don't think the Choya tonic comes from SAB.
It's going to come from the vendors, right? It's going to come from the vendors. You're going to go up with
the
all
reward.
these baubles. I already have almost 3 stacks of these bauble bubbles. I'm going to walk up, buy the things that they're going to offer, and then that's it. I'm going to be done. As a veteran, there's nothing for me here. There's nothing that's keeping me here. There's nothing that's driving me. Sure, finally, I'm getting so bored, I'm thinking about doing raids. I'm just gonna dive in. I'm just gonna be like, you know what? It's the only thing I haven't really touched and dived into. Let's just go full toxic elitist. I'm going to get 2,000 LI. There's nobody going to stop me now, and see if that drives something. But it just, if ArenaNet was capable of working on 2 other projects and maintaining Guild Wars 2, what's to say they're not going to fully just turn this into a regurgitated year after year, we can predict it, cookie cutter maintenance mess like Guild Wars 1, and then start introducing things so people that are coming into the game are interested for about a year or so, and then they're gone. And then we just have Guild Wars 1 all over again. But the only thing I can think of, if they do that, the only thing I can think of is that they're making another game. And the other game probably isn't going to be Guild Wars. It just probably wouldn't be. And as much as I want to be on their side of now they can refocus Guild Wars 2, I'm just not sure that's going to happen, because we're not getting an expansion. We're going into the next season. So as a content creator, if it's cookie cutter, it's just going to be bland. It's going to be, we're going to know what's coming up. The only thing we don't know for sure is where the story is going. But if we know we're going to get a map, we're going to get a new material, something like that, it's just, there it is. We know it's going to happen, but how long can you keep that up before, is there going to be an elite spec? Is there going to be, I just don't know. Even elite spec for me as a casual isn't as appealing if they can't give us something to use it for. So if there's not a new challenging fractal that's challenging in the right way, not just something that's just really hard or convoluted, or a raid or some kind of meta boss, a world meta boss to bring this elite spec to, then what's the point? You're just going to be like, oh yeah, here's the selling point of a new elite spec. But I mean, it's just going to be like Super Adventure Box. You're going to get the elite spec. You're going to play it for about a week, and then you're going to be back to the whatever you're doing beforehand. But they're going to have to give us something. And it's going to have to attract people there and make people have to work together or something. I really feel like we just, I don't know. That's why my big XL. I just don't know what's going to bring players back. I think is more important than what's going to bring new players in, because I think the new blood is watering down the waters because their expectations are so different compared to the vets that have been here for a while. They keep coming in with these ideas that they have to raid, that they have to do legendary armor. The casualness is going away when in fact it's being forced even more than it ever has been. And the echoes, right now, if you go to Twitter, I hated this. So ArenaNet wanted to do this thing with the partners, all right? And they announced it. Partners are going to play through the story, living story, catch people back up. It's going to bring back some of the vets. And the freaking comments I saw under that Twitter post, I'm glad they deleted them, because it was just shit-tastic. It was the dumbest thing I've ever read in my life.
Wait, what did they say?
Oh, look at this. It looks like they're going to just do this on Twitch. Where else are you going to stream it? YouTube? Where do you want this content to come from? Do you want us to use Steam? I mean, I couldn't believe the comments. This love affair with Twitch. It's a good platform. I mean, this is where most of us are. Why would they not use it? Oh, are they going to give us any new content to attract those new players back? Did you not realize what they just said? 5 weeks from now, you're getting a new episode. Somebody even said it. Someone even put that comment first. 5 weeks, new episode is coming. That's what this means. And some idiot out there decided to go, maybe they should give us new content to attract back the players. What level of just idiocy do you have to really think that ArenaNet is doing this for you and it doesn't appeal to you, so your first comment is be like, where's the new content? They've been giving us new content. The problem is it's not keeping you active in some way to shut your damn mouth. And that wasn't the only ones. Those weren't the only ones. There was other stupid crap. And then you go to Reddit. And you go, oh man, Reddit just it's just like eating Taco Bell with a bunch of fire hot sauce and just shit in the next day. I mean, the stuff I see on there just makes me want to just go to Reddit. And I wish I was a mod. Delete. The comments are just so asinine. This game isn't for me. This game isn't for me. That's what you're yelling. Oh man, this isn't WoW? No shit, it's Guild Wars 2. If you want to play WoW, go sub. Go. You don't even have to sub anymore. They have free trial tokens and shit now. And then you want to, oh man, maybe they should do something like this game. Maybe you should become a developer. Go start a damn company and make it yourself to get satisfied.
Whoa! That was pretty intense.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not happy this week.
Yeah, there's the anger is definitely coming out, right? The true mega salt is getting crazy. In terms of the unsatisfactory nature of the content, though, this comes down, in my opinion, to like the dilution of the MMO elements in the game. In my opinion, I think in the quest for ultimate convenience, Guild Wars 2, particularly in open world and the story content, has become very much single player, right? It's a very single player experience, not focus on teamwork, not focus on the social aspect of the game, and I think that in a nutshell is the downfall of the open world content in Guild Wars 2. It's certainly in my eyes anyway, right? Like the idea, and the thing is, this problem stems into other problems as well. It's the idea that your contribution doesn't really matter. Right. Okay. Your contribution is not that important in the open world. And I actually think this really blends well with what you were just saying there, Zorric, about elite specializations, right? How you'll get this brand new elite spec, right? But it doesn't really matter in a lot of the content in the game, right? Because you can just use anything, right? Like anything will steamroll it. Like literally any class will just roll over everything, right? More or less. And I think when you're playing just for like the flavor, you're not feeling the power increase. You're not feeling the uptick in the in the oomph of what you're playing. Like it doesn't feel different. It doesn't it doesn't change the way you experience the world. I think that's a really sad thing, and I think it breeds a lot of apathy in the player base. I think a lot of people are very just like meh about pretty much everything, right? When it comes down to it, the open world feels a little bland as a result of that, because if you go in to join an event, right, like unless there's only about 10 of you, what you do is kind of irrelevant, right? Like you can just auto attack. ArenaNet put in all this effort into designing these really crazy elite specs, right, that are really fun to play, have really interesting mechanics, right? And then all that's required of you is to auto attack. I mean, that seems like a little it's a little wasteful, right? It's a little reductive that you develop these really cool ideas and then they don't get used, or that they're totally irrelevant. Like that's the word for it, really. Like most of Guild Wars 2's actual game design is actually irrelevant in almost all of the content, right? Like it's only important in a very small section of the content, which is
isn't that the forward momentum thing though? Isn't that like once the content is made, done, packaged, thrown out, they don't look back. They don't look back at it. The only time they ever look back at it, if it's game breaking of a bug. But other than that, they're just forward, just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. That's why we lost dungeons, right? When they were going to HOT and they wanted fractals to become more thing, they took away all those rewards. And it just made me go, why? If you want to use this as a stepping platform, it would have been a perfect opportunity to be like, hey, we're restructuring rewards. But instead, they're just like, we're just going to forget that content. We don't have the team for it. We don't have that. And then they released HOT, and now we don't have dungeons. And people feel that effect. Like even now, like the realization to a lot of vets setting in is that they can't come back and run these dungeons and be successful there because ArenaNet has just gone forward. Look at fractals. Yeah, you're adding fractals, but the train is moving. Fractals are getting left behind. Some fractals aren't aging well. They need to go back and change them to bring them up to speed, to rebalance the way it's working. So this forward momentum of this train just doesn't stop. And now that we know where the stops are on the train, it makes it even worse because there's nothing exciting along the way. There's nothing to fill that space on the trip. You're sort of just sleeping through it. And so we're going to get to this next point and this next point and this next point. But the content that we keep stopping at, it's gone. That's it. If you're a new player coming in, yeah, it's great. You're going to play it, or maybe not. Maybe there's just not going to be enough interest there. And so if certain people are getting off on those stops, right, they enjoy that content, but the train keeps moving and the majority of people are staying on the train, those people are going to leave too. They're going to be like, well, nobody does this anymore.
So we're on to the train analogy now.
Ooh.
It was the plane last time.
Yeah. We're going to go for every mode of transportation.
I mean, it's hard to stop a train when it's fully loaded. So, I mean, it's even more loaded now. If they truly are going to refocus Guild Wars 2, that train is going to have so much weight behind it. There's going to be no brakes. I mean, they're probably going to restructure some things. Like, look, I'm already seeing it, right? The unidentified gear, right? They're going to redo that. So pretty much what they did is they watered down the loot table system to make sure Magic Find, those vets that have worked up their Magic Find or anyone else who spent the time to do it,
it's worse now. Oh, no.
So there's the stop. I mean, boom, we're to the next stop, and we're left behind because now our Magic Find only matters once, not twice, and so all that work sort of gets watered down. But the only thing I can see is that Ecto prices need to be fixed from it, so maybe there's something there, but I don't know. I'm just complaining at this point.
Well, it's a bit of an aside, but the Magic Find mechanic is woefully underutilized in my opinion. But I mean, that's
just get rid of it. Like all this luck and all that kind of stuff. The system is just not. I mean, and their big thing in the post was let's make it fair. I mean, what's fairer than someone who's playing the game for 6 years to have a better advantage than someone who isn't?
That is a really, to be frank, it's a very worrying statement. If you ask me, Zorric, right? It's kind of the idea that they don't want players who grind the game to have an advantage, if that makes any sense, right? And that is. If you actually think about that, that is a horrible thing to say, right? Like if like they don't want the players who are invested most in the game to have an advantage or to be rewarded for being invested in the game. Like you're talking about you being a forced casual, right? But nothing says that more than that, right? It's like saying, you know what? We don't want you to play the game a lot. In fact, we're going to fuck you over if you do. Just go away. Come back in 3 months. It's what the fuck, right?
It's like the diminishing returns thing. Back, like, you see all the bots, right? And they're like diminishing returns. So you're enjoying playing the map. You're keeping the map full. You're willing to play 8 hours in ore, but then you're going to hit us with diminishing returns, so the loot gets less and less. And so you're pretty much telling us play less to get more, because anybody who knows this, and everybody's like, it's conspiracy theory, but it's not. I'm telling you, it's not. Don't play the game for a week, come back, and I guarantee you're going to get exotic drops left and right. It happens every time. I'm not kidding you. It's just the way it works. There is something there that prevents. Maybe it's the problem is the bots. The bots have done this to us, but at the same time, it sucks. And then HOT, you want to know how they attracted those players back? They got rid of the diminishing returns. You go there, you're getting rares, you're getting all the flax you ever want. All those flax drops out there, if you just farm just mobs, you get tons of flax. You can get 3 stacks in an hour if you know how to farm HOT correctly. It's ridiculous the amount of gold you can earn in HOT compared to even Path of Fire, which I'm not sure if they have diminishing returns there. I really don't care because the maps are too big for people to get together and do things effectively besides bounties, which pull them together, right? So when it comes to farming, the casuals get screwed there too because we can't farm things for too long. So we have to chain those, and that just gets tiring after a while because you show up to a farm that somebody's already farming and you're like, well, I can't do this farm now. And you have to go find the next one, or you have to go do world bosses or some kind of world event. But if you already did it for today, you can't get rewarded again, because by God, showing up 4 hours later to do the same damn thing again in the same day, I guess, is just too much for ArenaNet to give us. I mean, how many chalk egg infusions are really out there, and why? If there's hundreds of thousands of players, why are there not hundreds of these things? I just don't understand why they're so valuable, and all the freaking collectors out there. There's one guy who owns 15 chalk egg sacks. I don't care. I mean, there should be several people with more than one at this point, I would think, but it's so damn rare, but we can't get the reward more than once. And everybody's like, oh, maybe it's character bound. BS is it character bound. I've never seen a chalk egg drop twice in a day for the same person. It's probably never going to happen because ArenaNet takes the best rewards and they just shove them down in this little hole. It's like the freaking polar bear in Guild Wars 1. Don't tell me that wasn't a mistake, because freaking 1,000 Ecto in Guild Wars 1 for a polar bear, and people still believe that's the price of it today, is still pissing me off.
Well,
I'm not sure what the issue is here, because you're saying like the chalk egg sack is too rare, but then you're saying that you're being forced into casualness. But like, isn't the chalk egg sack like something prestigious that you can work for? So like, what's the issue?
Sure. But the problem is, why can't you try to get it more than the same thing with the invisible boot box? Why can you not try to get it more than once a day? Why do you go up and kill a freaking 4 treasure mushrooms or the 8 or whatever it is, the true farm? But you can do that once a day and you have to come back tomorrow to do it. Is the idea that you're not going to come back tomorrow for it? Like, it's going to water down the skin? Because the reason why it's so rare is supply versus demand. But the chalk egg sack's demand isn't so much it's just prestigious value as it is that it does sort of look good. But people can't get it. You have to go to a Reddit black market forum, which just seems backwards to me. And then like, why can't you sell things for 27,000?
So your issue is that the drop rate is a little bit too low, right?
No, it's not the drop rate. It's the try rate. Why can't I do something over and over in the game and get rewarded for it?
If they're on the TP, you can buy them.
Okay, Doom chair argument.
No,
why do raids if I can buy the chair?
Well, no, what Zorric's trying to get at here is a really interesting point. I can't believe, dude, when we get Zorric on, we get fresh conversation. I never even really thought about this, but like the game is not grindable in a lot of ways. Like he doesn't like the fact that you cannot. You aren't going to get rewarded for basically grinding the game, right? They don't want you to grind the game. Like ArenaNet don't like it when you do that, so they kind of lock this stuff behind time gain, right? Like even attempting it, right? To get the chalk egg, so you can only attempt to get these rare items once a day, right? Or once per account, I suppose. Now it is true that it would reduce the price, but you could
because the drop rate is so low.
I mean, but let's think of this. I don't know how many chalk egg sacks out there are. I'm sure somebody knows the number. But say that you're able to do it more than once a day. Say twice a day. You get a chance. That means twice people are going to show up. It's going to make that event popular even more, right? Even overflow maps are going to fill. Look how low the number is of them. And just think of double that. I don't think the price would change very much because the drop rate is already so low. And again, we're talking RNG, so we don't even know if it would be double. We don't even know that. So my big thing is, no, you shouldn't be able to farm it, but you should be able to keep attempting it, because the biggest problem with Guild Wars 2 and open world content right now is there's not enough people and not enough places. Mostly because they know if they did it once, they're not going to have to do it again. But if you give them that chance, they will show up for it multiple times, which makes the world feel full, which makes people play more. And that the watering down of that system is what happened there.
Do you actually like the chalk egg sack effect? Like, would you wear it? Other than for the fact that if someone sees you have it, they know that, oh, you're rich or you have something that's really rare. Like, does it actually?
You want me to be really honest about the chalk egg sack? I'd give it away. I'd actually give it away. You want to know why? Because I find it just to be the most pretentious item in the freaking game, and I think it's trash. I think it's absolute trash that item is so freaking rare. I do like the look, but I'd just be like, who wants it? Who wants it? And just, I don't care, 27,000 gold worth of whatever. I would just be like, I don't want this in my hands. It would be like a Ferrari, right? Someone is always like, oh man, I wish I had a Ferrari. If you gave me a Ferrari, I would take a bat to it because I find that more appealing than actually driving around this machine that can't even drive on the damn road. I mean, just, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it in words, I guess. It just feels like a gut punch every single time that I see a chalk egg sack on being sold somewhere on some website for like even people pay money for them, which is ridiculous. But like, why is this event so prestigious and the worst map ever, in my opinion? And then you don't let people try it again when the event comes back up 2-4 hours later. Maybe that's it. Maybe all these loot things, if there's diminishing returns, it should be time-based. If you spend this much time, you have to be gone this much time from that area.
So what are you looking for then if you don't want the chalk egg sack? So I'm trying to find out.
I want people to show up for the chalk egg sack. Damn.
Well, don't they do TD every day? I'm pretty sure they do, right?
No, a group of people show up at that specific time just for the meta. There's no other reason for them to show up if they get that meta. So as the day progresses, less people show up. The chances of getting it becomes less for those who play in different times. But if you can show up and try it again,
isn't that just prime times though?
No, in my experience, the Tangled Depths is pretty populated most of the time, I think.
I mean, HOT maps are
does
popular.
It fail ever?
I think we're straying away from the point now. This isn't the point. Like the point that Zorric is getting at here is that again, it's not grindable. Like ArenaNet in a way prevent you from grinding the game, right? Like and gate the amount of rewards you can potentially obtain per day, right? Well, again, this is a very bizarre. It's a bizarre tangent, actually, but you know, like when it comes to like these big prestigious items, right? It's you know, the RNG is insane, right? And there's no way you can really do anything about it. Like, all the best you can do is do it every day, you know. As opposed to if you really wanted the chalk egg sack, you could do like 2 or 3 times a day, right? Or hop instances, right, and abuse the hopping instances and try and loot the chest multiple times that way, right, and try and you know, get a bunch of gold. And what Ipos is saying here is an interesting one, right? In a way, ArenaNet prescribes how they want you to play the game, right? Like in a way, limiting the freedoms. They limit the freedoms of the more veteran, perhaps more hardcore player who really has a specific goal in mind, right?
But they're not though. You can do TD every single day. If you really care about the chalk egg sack, you'll be realistic and just farm gold. I don't see how they're forcing you to do anything. That's the whole point of Guild Wars 2 is you can do whatever you want. So I don't really see what the issue is here.
But I'm not able to do whatever I want because what if I want to do that event multiple times a day? I'm not going to get rewarded for it.
Well, you can. You will get rewarded, just not as much. You'll get diminishing return.
But why? Why is somebody who can go get 53 freshwater pearls?
If you just want, wait, do you want the rewards or do you want
showing up to
TD?
a meta?
Like,
what?
You're saying
like I can farm.
But then you're saying you want to get rewarded from TD twice or more than once. Why
not? I mean, if it's gonna make me enjoy Guild Wars 2 and show up to the meta events, ArenaNet wants to push people to these multiple meta events. They don't want to reward us multiple times if we show up again. I mean, that just blows my mind. I can get rewarded more by not playing with people than with playing with people.
I'm not sure what you mean. There are plenty of meta events for you to do.
But that's the point. What if you enjoy more metas than... This is why Istan got nerfed, right? Because ArenaNet realized...
everyone's only doing it. They're only camping Istan.
Because
that is a bit silly, though. That is a bit silly, though. And that's another problem, in my opinion, right? Like that's another issue with the game, right? Is I think the community has become very... very, very, very reward driven, right? They only want to obtain gold, and this is actually, well, they only want gold, right? So they can get whatever they want. I think that's another problem, like another down the line, is the fact that because you can obtain almost everything with gold in this game. It actually makes ArenaNet's job very, very difficult when it comes to designing events that they want people to do, because people will naturally flock to the thing that gives you the most gold instead of things that give you unique map-based rewards, because at the end of the day, there is no reason to do a less efficient farm, really, unless it's more fun, but people don't care about fun anymore, unfortunately, because you can just buy that reward that you want to get in Tangled Depths, so you can just grind gold and you can get it, right? It's not about it's not about the fun or the actual content anymore, unfortunately, right? Like that sort of thing, and that is a bit of a shame, in my opinion, as well. There's the convenience factor of the game has kind of fucked it up a little bit.
Actually, Vallun came up with a good point that was off of here. He was talking about Zaishin coins, right? And what if world bosses or certain meta events rewarded tradable tokens? So say you show up to the Chalk Garant for a year, 365 times. Doing this event, never get an egg. But what if you get these tokens that eventually you can get that? And it may not even be 365 tokens, right? It may be like 1,200. So you're going to have to show up for like 4 years, but you can use these tokens to buy something. Or, Central Tyria, whatever. Maybe that would incentivize people to go instead of decentivizing people not to go. I think
that's
positive reinforcement.
Goal is just making it more specific, right?
Yeah, but farming
you can go
gold
anywhere and get gold, or you can do the Zaishin quest and do these very specific things and get basically a gold.
But my big thing about open world is it's no longer driving players together. I mean, are people farming gold together besides Istan and Silver Waste? I mean, how many times do you party with someone and go, hey guys, let's go hit the rich nodes anymore? I mean, you just don't. How many people farm fractals specifically for the gold or for Ascended armor so they don't have to spend the gold? It's become something that is 5 or less players, or if you have to raid, it almost feels like even raiders are feeling forced. The only reason they get together with 10 people in a pug is because that's what's needed for the most part to get it done. But I'm telling you, I can farm gold. I just did it on stream the other day. 143 gold in 4 hours, right? 143 gold, 4 hours, one quick stream. I mean, I do that so many times, and people don't believe gold comes that fast, but it does. I mean, just farming the right things, but it's solo content. It's nothing that's driving the players together to work together. So the open world content, I don't go to meta events. I don't participate. I go to maps. I'm filling up slots, right? If people are doing the same thing, we're all just not playing the game. We're playing Harvest Simulator.
Wait, are you saying you want solo content or you want group content?
Damn it, Vallun, no. I want group content that is not soloable, but at the same time can be done with a small amount of people that doesn't require me to go put a tag up every time I see the event happen. Every time I show up, if I have to solo a champ to kill something, right? That's on me when it's a hero point. But if it's actually going to give me an item that's going to be worth gold or give me an effect or improve the state of my character, I want people to be there. But people aren't showing up to these things. What is the point of going to Queensdale and doing the boss anymore if you're just going to get 4 rares? It was better to tell people, hey, just go pick up the expansion, right? Because you're going to make all your money back in gold technically if you just go do the Istan farm. And then even with ArenaNet nerfing it, you can still show up to that farm and get 6 times more rares in about the same amount of time that freaking it takes to kill that behemoth anymore, because only 20 or 30 people are showing up to that event. And when there is 100 people showing up to that event, it takes forever to kill it anyways. So it's a big waste of time one way or another. But ArenaNet isn't going to reward you any differently, so why wouldn't you go to the best farm and just solo the damn content?
Whoa.
I'll
Well,
calm down, Vallun.
yeah.
I'll calm down.
Now, okay. Let me see if I can mix this situation up a little bit, guys. Now, surely, then maybe a key point there, Zorric, would you say is that we need unique rewards for specific kinds of content? Then, right?
There are unique rewards, though. If you looked at the novelties in the wardrobe, all you have to do is go there, look at the novelties or whatever, or even just the wardrobe itself. There are specific skins that you have to go to certain places to get them. Like, for example, the new Astral skins. You can only get those from, or the Stellar skins, you can only get those from Kralkatite ore, right? So it's something you have to do specifically. And I remember there was like this meteorite farm or something that people were doing before. And I was actually doing that when I was working on my Astral collection. I mean, it's something that's very specific and something that you could actually do in a group, right? The meteorite farm, I believe.
Didn't they nerf the meteorite farm?
Yeah, I think they nerfed it.
Yeah.
So
It's nerfed now, right? Obviously, this is kind of like bad, right? But it used to be something that you could do. Like, it's something specific and you have to go out into the world to do it. Like, it's out there.
Yeah, there is certainly a bunch of stuff in the game that does handle this quite well, but I think again this is a very bizarre talking point actually, but I think we should probably move away from this topic also because it is a bit of an odd tangent with regards to like being able to grind the game as much as you want. I think to kind of illustrate the point here, I would give the example of raids actually. The fact that you don't get anything for doing raids more than once, I guess, is probably a fair point, at least daily or on different characters or something like that. I'm not saying you should get the same thing every time, but there are a lot of players who really like the raids, right? Like they almost play that content almost exclusively. Actually, that's it's a sub category of player even on itself is the raids, right? But Arena says no. In fact, there is no point to doing this more than once, and that you can really tell that this has a pretty negative impact on the raid player base as the week goes on. Like as the week goes on, the population dwindles out, right? And to really struggles a little bit towards the end of the week, and it's very very intense on the first few days, and it drops off pretty quickly, right? As everyone gets their clears on the Monday, and then they stop playing, right? It's what I find with a lot of players who slowly drift away from the game, right, is that they find themselves logging in, right, performing a few tasks, and then logging out again, right? Okay, and as in that you log in, like do a few dailies, then log out, and then you find yourself doing that less. Like some people even raid. That they'll raid on Monday. This happens with a tragically large amount of players. Actually, people will log in on Monday, raid clear, and then log out for the rest of the week. Okay, and then just wait until the next reset, which I think is so sad. It's like they really like the content, right? But there's just no real point or motivation to do it outside of once a week, and that's I don't know. That's a little bit sad. I think this is one of the issues that causes the lack of player retention in Guild Wars 2. Like the content that if you really enjoy something specific in the game, right? You can't. The ArenaNet don't want you to grind it, right? They want you to do it once and then wait until tomorrow or wait until next week, right? To do it. And you could say that's to do with the economy, to stabilize the economy, but I don't know, dude. Like surely they can figure out a way to counterbalance people actually playing stuff for fun over and over and over again. I mean, this is an MMO, right? It feels more and more like the direction that the game is going is ArenaNet really doesn't want you to play it like an MMO. They want you to play it as their single player game or like a fucking TV show. It's kind of it's like it's turning into Game of Thrones, except if everyone lives happily ever after and no one dies. That's basically Guild Wars 2. It's I don't know. This is a game, not a TV show, but unfortunately, it feels more and more like the latter rather than the former. Unfortunately, it's a little bit sad, I think, and that's where I think that's where a lot of the replayability issues come from in the game, is because ArenaNet don't want you to replay it. They want you to do it once, and then log out again. Yeah, there you go. Plenyx, what do you think? What do you think of the situation with regards to replayability in open world and raids and everything, and just everything?
I want more challenge. I'm not gonna lie. I think one of the solutions for like people bundling up should be like a challenge, but then again, people want something which is easy. It's very difficult to break that mentality and actually want people to play the game because they're used to not playing it. They're just watching things happen. I don't know. Challenge would fix that, but then again, people would be raging because it's challenge, so it would get nerfed to be another auto attack fiesta.
Yeah, and but I don't know. Again, ArenaNet have moved themselves into quite an unfortunate situation. Everyone expects everything to be face roll easy now. So if they ever did implement any kind of challenge, there would obviously be riots in the street. But then again, would they? Like, now, let's actually think about this. Like, do you think the reaction would really be that bad with regards to like a bit of challenge in the game? I'm not even sure if it would be. Like, yeah, some people would complain a lot, but surely most people would just get on with it, right?
I've had this. I'm sorry.
People, sorry about that. People were already complaining about raids. They didn't want to have raids in the game, but they're now kind of, well, they either left already because they just got, there was no point of playing anymore, or they kind of went with it. Like, yeah, it happened. It's a brand new thing. It happened. Either you deal with it, or you just don't deal with it and you can leave. Like, that's something which I think they should not react based on, like, when they introduce something new and there's such a huge outcry. They shouldn't, like, hard react on those outcries and maybe kind of push it a little bit and just stay with it as it is. Like, there are some examples in the past which happened, which I think they were not justified. Like, I think the Halloween race would be one of the things there. They hard nerfed it so everyone could get it, basically. And I myself, on like 4th try, almost got it. And I hadn't played with a beetle that much. I don't know. It's just people don't want any challenge in the game, it seems to me. It's just easy auto attacks. Oh yeah, I'm lagging.
There was a bit of lag. But don't worry, it cleared up. You were perfectly understandable. I think that's what drives a lot of players away. Certainly the more veteran players away from some of this content. Right, it becomes far too easy, right? And it doesn't feel engaging anymore because again, I think in a video game. And this is, I'm going to get a bit philosophical. Like, you get your POG universities in the chat, guys. Okay. It's in video games, like the key is like choices, right, and decisions and interactivity, right. And when the game becomes incredibly easy and trivial, right, then you lose that decision making, you lose that influence you have over the outcome of the game. Like, if your decisions don't matter, then I think that's where you start to lose player engagement, right? And you become bored, right? You become uninterested, right? And that's certainly the case with a lot of the content in the game. Certainly, almost all of open world, with a very few exceptions. There are a few exceptions, right? With regard, you can triple trouble. You could even argue Tequatl, Chat Gerant is, arguably an exception there as well. Like, your contribution is relevant. Certainly, actually, Vabi. I think, if anything, I would say that the Vabi beta is the most extreme example of this. If you actually have to have people vaguely on point, right? When it comes to CCing, like to break all the zealots, otherwise you will actually fail, right? Like, you can actually fail. Like, it is a very failable event. And this even spews into raids to a certain extent. Like, the raids are like arguably pretty undertuned, and especially if you're well, not even a fully 1% of the 1%, actually. I think a lot of people find the raids to be very face roll, right? And very easy, actually. Because of the way, obviously with time, everything becomes easier, right? But the raids are undertuned at the end of the day. Like, they don't actually require a very good understanding of them. There are so many players who have 50 Doom kill proof, right? Who have absolutely no fucking clue how the boss works, right? Okay, like seriously, the amount of people who don't have a bloody clue, okay, in raids, and they've killed it like 50 times, like 200, 300, 400 LI groups, right? And they have not got a bloody idea what they're doing, right? It's incredible. I don't understand how you can get that way, To a certain extent, the game does need to direct you, okay? And it needs to direct you into not being terrible at it, right? I think some elements of the game should force you to actually do something good, right? Like, I think you should actually be forced in a way to vaguely know your class, know what your buttons do, know what the fight does, like know what this boss does in open world, know what, what this raid mechanic is and stuff like that. It's pretty rough. Just don't be bad, guys. Just don't be bad.
Isn't that the point of open world, is to like be face roll? Like, sure, if I want to challenge, I go to raids or I go to PvP. But if I want to just like chill, like say I'm watching like a stream and I don't want to pay attention, or like I'm busy and I know I'm gonna have to like leave in 10 seconds or every 10 minutes, right? I can go do open world, right? Isn't that like the beauty of it?
I don't think open world needs to be challenged. I mean,
yeah, I don't think it needs to be challenging.
Like, Triple Trouble is a beautiful example of that. It's a very complicated boss, which can be simplified by multiple people who know what to do, and they will offer you the help. They will tell you what to do, and you can cheese through it, and you can still do it. Even if people who never done it in basically almost everyone besides like few commanders and maybe some block. But there's nothing wrong with open world being a little bit more challenging there. But
what the hell is this? You can't face roll PvE meta event. What is that comment? Are you kidding me? Have you ever played on a healing scourge? You can stand in the middle of all the BS that it could ever fly. Freaking Tequaddle can land on your face and you can stand there in his freaking AoE now. It is so ridiculous the amount of barrier and healing you can do in this game. You think you can't face roll? I can lay a cat on a keyboard with the Scourge today, and 99% of the PvE meta is completed. I mean, I bet I can even lay a cat on a keyboard today and they can complete the game for me. I can just buy an account, put the cat on the keyboard, walk away. You can face roll, but as a group, you could solo Behemoth back in the day. That's why they had to change the event. I used to solo that guy. When people are all down in ore, I used to be up there like, I'm getting my rares today on a freaking Soldier's Hammer Warrior. They had to change that meta to get other people to show up. And then even then, you can still do it with 5 people. The entire thing is face roll. The only reason you can't do it solo now is because there's just not enough time.
Well, on that as well,
we need Marionette. That's what we need. We
Not-
just need a bit like that.
Yeah.
Split us up, make us organize, get us to kill different things, make us use mechanics. I mean, with raids, with the newest raid, we have all these mechanics to just throw in a blender and make people like learn something and work together and then give great rewards for it. You showed up, it took you 20 minutes to kill this thing. Here's 20 minutes worth of rewards instead of the guy out in the freaking freshwater pearl farm pulling out 50 gold. If you show up and you actually complete this thing, there's a chance you're going to get that 50 gold for 20 minutes of your time. That's going to make people work together. I mean, why not have that? Why not have something that's like Tequaddle and Triple Trouble there for us to do, to actually go try? Why isn't Vabby's meta just something great? There's no rewards. There's no reason to do it more than once. I mean, it's... I'm going to drink more of this. I don't need to.
And not everything needs to be this incredible challenge, right? And Vallun is right.
I agree. There definitely needs to be more challenging things, right? I'm just saying, like, there also needs to be, like, what we have right now, like, we don't need it to be, like, changed to be harder. They just need to add more challenging things.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Why can't they go back like they did with Tequaddle?
Oh, yeah, fair point.
I mean, you're saying it's still really easy right now. I'm not saying that they were right or wrong in doing that. I'm just saying, like, right now we have plenty of like casual stuff, I think that's fine. It's completely fine. And I agree, there needs to be more challenge, but it doesn't need to come from changing, whatever existed already. Or maybe like my idea with the hard mode is kind of actually changing what already exists, right? But I think that would be.
I mean, you don't have to change it. You don't have to change it to make it impossible, type of thing. Well, like if I talk from a casual's perspective, I don't want to show up to a meta event and be blindsided by something that I've never seen before because I don't do raids, right? But I think if we make the battles more stimulating, and the fact that people actually have to do, like, if you show up to Shadow Behemoth after the changes, how many people are actually going out and killing the portals, right? There are people doing it, but there's not a lot of people. If they made it so you're not killing one of those portals and you don't have a buff, you're going to be downed, it would make that battle so much more interesting, right? But it's a simple change. It is that simple. You need to help kill one of these portals, or you're going to be downed here in a second. And that would change this. I'm just going to hit my auto attack and walk away.
You would just get like res if you get downed.
That's true, but it's going to take longer to kill the boss. I mean, aren't you just there to kill the boss?
Challenge, though.
But
would that make you happy is what I'm saying.
It would make me happy to see the dumbasses that are sitting there with the auto attack to go down, and I'd just be like, don't res them. I'll be that toxic casual. I'll be that toxic elitist all at once. Be like, don't res them. Just let them die. Let's see what rewards they're getting today. Also, why don't they go back and make events? You can still chain events, right, through Central Tyria? Take that away, too. Let's start taking away the quarters. Let's see what happens when you can't put them back in the arcade machine. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? At this point, everybody's gone anyways, so I mean, if it makes the toxic casual scream on the forums, at least it'll give me something to read at night. Right now, it's just I'm just in a bad mood today. Maybe that's it.
Yeah. Well, okay. So when it comes to this sort of thing, it would help kind of connect the game modes together, if that makes any sense, right? You can ladder the content. I think it is possible to make open world stuff challenging. I think Vabi is a pretty good example of that. Triple Trouble is a good example of that. Honestly, even Tequatl, realistically. I think Tequatl is saying that, you have to be able to do something good to do it, right? But so much of the content, like the generic content in the game, your contribution doesn't matter. You can just face roll it, right? Like you have to do very, very little to actually beat it, right? It is ultra easy to a certain extent, and I think players being rewarded for actually being good at the game and kind of understanding what's going on, I think it's going to generate a lot of health for the gamer, right? I think it will help everything realistically, right? Like, if more players understand what their abilities do and they realize that, I need to do this here, right? I need to do this mechanic, that mechanic, right? Like if I don't do this, I'm gonna get it wrecked or something like that. And that is gonna help those players transition into the other gamers. Because as it stands right now, if you just play open world and then you try and do a raid, it is gonna go quite badly for you. You're gonna get absolutely destroyed. You're gonna get absolutely crushed. And well, it's a bit of a weird situation anyway. Like I say raid there, not fractal, because raids are a lot easier to get started in than fractals. Like I was thinking about this the other day. Like fractals are a bit of a fiesta, right? It's true that you have to kind of work your way up through them, right? But like, the fact that you need ascended gear for fractals is a bit weird, especially seeing as you really don't need ascended gear at all to do raids, but raids are technically harder. I don't know. I think you end up with a lot of players who are not ready for raids going into raids. But I think open world could unironically prepare you for raids. There are some things in the open world that are legitimately threatening, right? Like the donut on Chat Garrett. Like so many people get destroyed by the donut, right? Or the break bars on Vabi. Like the fact that this event is like a massive stumbling block is such a telling thing. Like actually, no, not just that break bar. Any fucking break bar in the game, dude. It just never happens. Like, look, guys, I'm gonna say this, right? It took me and like 50 people, okay, to break the Death Branded Shatterer, okay? That was an intense experience, right? That we finally managed to break it. Like, I've never seen it broken before. We all just took mass CC skills to do it, right? But the thing is because it doesn't matter. If it was important, then people would do it, you know? Of course they would. They'd be forced to learn.
You might be kind of wanting something that's more threatening rather than like something that is like it matters. Like, so for example, in open world, if I'm doing map completion, I die, I go to the nearest waypoint, right? It doesn't matter that I died, but it's important that I die, right? I think if you just map complete, you're not really in threat of dying ever, right? If you're just like, I mean, I guess I don't know because I usually have ascended gear when I'm map completing, but like, you know, like just dying and then having someone realize what their mistakes is and then come back, and it doesn't really matter whether they die because they can just respawn, right? But like the fact that they have to learn from like a clear mistake, right? Whereas like if you don't die, it doesn't really signal to you that you're doing something wrong. So maybe that's what you want instead of like the point where like there's like a fail state and then there's like a die state, right? Like you can win a PvP match and feed and get carried, right? But you don't learn anything, right? If you don't die and like get carried and like, you know, so like maybe make open world like a little bit more damage oriented, I would say. Like make people die more, but then like, obviously there's the like the rezzing part that's kind of that makes it even easier and sort of less punishing, but I think that even then like it's fine, right? If like you have people carrying them with the reses.
To be honest, I think adding fail now. I would say that both of those things are necessary. I think add fail states too. I think these events shouldn't always succeed. To be honest, like it's certainly not the more rewarding ones. You could even counterbalance this with what Zorric was talking about earlier, right? Like you could make it so you can loot chat Geralt more than one times a day, but just make it way harder, right? And so it actually fails sometimes. If you don't coordinate well, it's going to punish you, and you're going to fail it, right? I don't know. It's this is a completely different thing. But I've been playing on a vanilla WoW private server, okay. And I realize it's a totally different game, right? But like in that game, guys, okay, when you go around and you're being attacked by 3 mobs, like that's some serious shit. Okay, it's a serious threat. Like a lot of stuff is very scary, right? The world feels dangerous, right? In Guild Wars 2, again, it never feels dangerous. Like when I'm in an open world Metro event, I never go like, "Oh boy, we're in trouble now, boys." Like this what is it even called? Like the one in Thunderhead Peaks. What is it called? Like the Wrathbringer or whatever it's called, right? Oh boy, this thing's really gonna get us good. And you know,
that place is kind of dangerous when there aren't people there. But yeah, when there's a huge Zerg, it's pretty face.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, like when you fight these bosses, I don't feel threatened, right? It's just you could tank every attack, right? And almost everyone could tank every single attack and just feed incessantly, and it wouldn't make any difference. I just think that is not good. I think that's for a start. I think that's trash gameplay, right? But I also think it's breeding this apathy and disinterest in having any level of interest, any level of participation, right? Like it's just, you know, that everyone just sits back and lets everyone else kill it, right? And the thing is that actually works, right? But that shouldn't work. That just should not work at all. If everyone is tanking everything, feeding hard into the boss, you know what? Fuck it. Like make it so like some bosses, whenever they kill a player, it regens or something. Like yeah, like punish me for being bad. Let's go. I think for a start, I think that's probably more fun. Right, it's probably more fun to play actually because again, it's engaging, right? It's interactive. It's a video game. It's not a movie, guys. Let's not play a fucking movie, okay? It's a game, right? You should actually have to do something, you know?
That kind of ties into this one idea that I was talking about with WP, where like Guild Wars 2 isn't really an RPG where you like go in, you fail, and then you rearrange your gear or you get better stats and then you come back with a better build or something. It's kind of just like it is sort of like just a movie, right? It's not very interactive, and I feel like I'm not sure how you could change that to make it so that you need to like be constantly building up and learning and having this whole like process while you're doing it, because like, you know, Guild Wars 2 is very account bound, right? You can just max, you can basically get to the end game instantly, right? Because of how account bound works with ascended loot and tomes of knowledge. So it's kind of like, and of course, like when you're going through like an open world map, you're never under leveled, right? I guess in a way. I guess you could be under leveled for a map in open world, but still, even then, like it doesn't feel challenging at any point. It just feels like, oh, it's taking me longer to kill this thing, rather than, oh, I can actually like die here, or I can't kill this yet. I need to go somewhere else and farm up, or like get better loot or gear to be able to do this. And while that may not be like challenging and it can be like sort of grindy in a way, it still is kind of like the whole RPG aspect where it's like learning the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely think that the RPG elements, as you say, have been taken away, right? It's an online world, right? But you know, you can sit back and relax, and you don't really have to, get invested in your character as such, right? Like you know, the game plays itself to a certain extent, right? There is, there's the role playing, right? It's missing the playing, in my opinion, and it's a consequence of the content, the design of the content, in my opinion. It's too easy. I really don't mind easy content, guys. I don't want to come off as an elitist here. That's not what this is, guys. It's not what this is. But I think the level of easiness that we are experiencing right now is just on another level, right? Like we see that some of this stuff is literally unfailable, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's ridiculous, right? When you have a boss fight in the Living Story that you cannot fail, right? I just think that give me the time machine. Holy shit, dude! Oh my god, let's go back in time. I don't want to. I think we're in the worst timeline. Okay, look, guys, look at current events. It's all going to shit, right? Oh my goodness, like forget about that. Okay, like look, you can actually not fail in Guild Wars 2. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, that is ridiculous, right? I think that the game is sorely lacking fail states. Like the community has become so lazy, right? So lazy and so apathetic to the idea of actually putting some effort into the game, that everything has become incredibly cookie cutter, incredibly predictable, and boring for anyone who isn't an ultra omega casual, right? Okay, and that is a bit depressing if you ask me, because it's true that play how you want, right? Unless you want to get invested in the game, like then you're gonna have a bad time. So this is why it's so easy to recommend Guild Wars 2 to new players, right? Because if you're new, okay, if you're new, there's a hell of a lot to do, right? Okay, then that's a good thing. The thing is that once you get to the end of it, you kind of start to realize that, if you want to keep going at the rate you've been, at the rate you've been tracking on, you're gonna have an unfortunate time. You're gonna hit a bit of a roadblock, and you're gonna get smushed. It's just not gonna work out, and then you end up going, well, you quit. That's why you have to say that if you do want to play a game to a certain hardcore extent, right? And Guild Wars 2 is not that, unfortunately. It's not going to work out well for you because ArenaNet doesn't particularly want players who do that, right? It's a bit sad, right? It's ArenaNet is perfectly satisfied with the level of difficulty as it challenges the audience they do the game for. I don't think it even challenges anyone. I legitimately think that it challenges no one, because you can't lose.
ArenaNet made that audience. ArenaNet made that audience. Had they continued to make challenging content and not listen to the toxic casuals, those people didn't show up to Tequaddle and change their gear. Those people aren't going to show up and try to figure this out with other people. But they went to the forums and they screamed how hard Tequaddle was for weeks. Even months later, people were still commenting on those things because they thought Tequatl was too hard. And TTS and all those groups that came out of it were a just godsend to the game for us casuals because we no longer had to go figure it out ourselves. We just had to wait a week or two. We knew what gear to get. We took all of our gold from farming and you just go buy the gear and you go fight Triple Trouble. You listen to the guy in the freaking TeamSpeak and you win. That's the true way to leech. You actually show up and you play, right? But these toxic casuals, they wanted this. They want us to not be engaged in this game. They do not quit saying dead game. It's a zombie game because you just show up and you just on the keyboard. That's it. That's all you do now. There is nothing that causes you to engage with other players. It is a single player game where you show up and you tap the one key and you win. That's it. That's all you do. So for casuals, everybody's like, oh yeah, we should throw this in raids. No, casuals need stimulation. These toxic casuals have slowly dragged the game down, and they're not going to leave. They love the attention, right? The vets leave. These people who put in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 hours into the game or more. Yes, over 9,000. And they show up and they do all this work, but now they're leaving because they're like, wow, this is so face roll. Like, I've done all this work, but there's nothing to do with it. So we've gotten all this gear, we've gotten all this gold, we've gotten all this achievements, we got all these bonuses, and now ArenaNet's just taking it away, right? Look at the unidentified gear. Magic Find no longer matters there for 2 times, so we get screwed over there, and then Veteran's going to get screwed over there, then these people with tons of hours get screwed over there. And the only people that are going to be left is people like Vallun, right? Where he needs to get those achievement points. He needs to do every crevice of the content because that's what he enjoys. But the problem is he's already passed the toxic casuals. Let's just be honest. He knows who to turn to for information or where to go to get that stuff. The toxic casuals, though, as the new players come in, they're going to listen to these guys. They're the guys on the corner with the book, right? Listen to me. Listen how great this game could be if it just became easier. But that's the problem. The damn book is telling them something that's wrong. Because if you go look it up, the game actually used to engage us. That's why people showed up. That's why we had TTS. That's why we gain huge streamers that could do meta events on stream, and 100 people would show up to watch and be like, oh my God, is he going to get it? And then World versus World, look at that shit. Look how easy it is to do a World versus World. It's such a joke compared to it was. You had to use Siege to get in. If you didn't Trebuchet freaking Stone Mist, you weren't going to get in unless you were as good as me to ninja that shit in. And then finally tell the commander, I'm in the Lord's room, get ready for... Right? And all these people would just show up suddenly, and it was work. It was something you had to do. Now people are like, let's K-Train. You just follow the tag, you throw some AoE around. Look at me, I'm a Scourge. You look so massive with your nice little 80-man blob K-Training each tower. But what does PPT mean? Nothing anymore. It's all about the kill-death ratio, right? And that's great and all. That's good combat PvP style stuff, but there's no strategy to any of it. It's all become... Look at PvP. People are botting PvP. What the fuck? Is this Lineage 2? Is this Lineage 2? Because at this point, all these game modes are falling to this toxic bullshit, and you people are falling for it. That's the worst part. I go to Reddit, and these people are like, it shouldn't be this way, blah, blah, blah. But then you scroll down a little bit further, and somebody goes, well, it's not so bad, and you just downvote. Suddenly it's getting downvoted because somebody just holds the book up. Look what this toxic casual said. This is too hard, right? Mesmers need a nerf, and everybody just goes throwing a fit. Mesmers don't need a nerf, blah, blah, blah. But what are the bots using? Mesmers, Revenants, Firebrands. And I wouldn't be surprised if people start botting World versus World. 90% of the people you're going to be playing with within 2 years are going to be bots.
They're all fucking bots, dude.
You know who those toxic casuals are? I guarantee it's the people selling those damn programs to you to run the damn bots. They're making huge amounts of money. They're just getting all this money and gold, and all you do is show up on Reddit to downvote any good post that ArenaNet's ever going to have. You show up on their Twitter, you're going to be like, oh man, look at all these content creators trying to do something for the community. Go shit on them. But then, what else? What else are you going to do? Easier content, right? And then soon, MightyTeapot's going to be looking at 54 viewers, the only streamer left. He's going to be freaking gray hair and everything at that point. And it's only 2 years down the road, people, 2 years. But ArenaNet's in full maintenance mode, Guild Wars 1 style, right? But here you are. Here you are, still going, MightyTeapot, should the game be harder? And by this point, the raids don't even have a hard mode. They took that crap off. They're like, full rewards, story version, this crap, you can't die anymore. So here it is, all because you want to listen to some toxic casual, probably someplace, probably right here in this fucking chat, somebody going, just make more raids. Fuck you, 20% of the entire content? Really? In this game, 20% of the population shows up for 20% of the content, and you want them to make more of that when people are showing up to open world, but they're not giving us an open world that actually does anything for us? You just show up, spam your one skill, read through the story, hope to God that freaking NPCs are going to res you? How boring is that? And you want me to show up and tell you that it's going to be okay? It's not. ArenaNet needs to buckle down. People need to start dying in these metas. People need to just regret showing up to the goddamn map. They need to be like, oh man, I better gear my character, because God forbid you remove the green and blue gear off your character when you're level 80 and show up and actually do some DPS. And you're wondering why Nike's raising his book going, please, more DPS. For the love of God, just put on a great sword. You wonder why he's saying that? Because there is some necro out there that is running dagger with soldier's gear with no bloodline ever. He's just there with 2 daggers doing freaking 800 DPS? How? At level 80, are you doing less DPS than
hold on.
Warrior?
So it seems like your issue is with the community, right? But isn't that kind of...
But it's not the community. The community has been tainted by these... I don't know. They're probably bots. Let's just be honest. They show up to Reddit, some scripted thing, put it in there.
It's chicken and the egg, right?
Your issue is with humanity, not with Guild Wars 2. So maybe we should be talking...
Celestial Weaver, just for the record, Celestial Weaver does more DPS than some of these people out there. So if you're questioning me when you're running something like that, at least you know what the hell you're running and why. But these people showing up with green and blue gear, that is the only way you're doing less than 1,000 DPS in this day and age, because you didn't change out your gear. And those guys, they're the ones that show up on the forums and they go, ArenaNet game too hard, because they don't know how to open up the damn trading posts on their free-to-play game and see that there's higher level gear, or they've already freaking sold it to the merchant, because I don't know. Anyways, Vallun, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
continue
you
after
just proved
that.
it all right there.
Well, no.
I mean, it's not the whole community, because everyone's complaining about it. They're just not going to the and being like, ArenaNet, we need this. They're not. They're only doing it in little places. And every time they show up, content needs to be harder. Guess what the first thing? And I know these people. They're more casual than I am. They are more casual than I am. Vallun, you would not believe the casualness of these people. You would not believe that they log in and they kill in starter zones. They kill for tier 1 mats. What the hell are you doing tier 1 mats? Believe it or not, they're going to Mystic Forge that stuff up, right?
Ooh.
These people go to the forums, right? They go to Reddit and they're like, this new map is sort of boring. They should have had a better meta. Downvoted. Why? Is it the community? No, it's pockets of the community that are toxic. And that isn't the entire argument, though. It's the fact that we've all become apathetic, just like Teapot said, and we're not willing to speak up and be like, ArenaNet, yes, this is what we want. Because at this point, nobody knows what they want, because all they hear is that the majority is saying this, or the loudest voices are saying that. So they don't want to really like show up to a game where they actually have to try or anything, because it becomes more work. Right? It actually becomes a job to fight these people. But in the end, if those 60% of player base actually showed up and said, no, ArenaNet, I think it would be great if we had another Marionette, a Triple Trouble, a Tequaddle, so we can actually do something. They actually showed up to the forums when these toxic elitists say, no, we don't want this.
Wait, you're saying that you're saying that it's a minority, but then you're also saying that ArenaNet is listening to them because they're the most, toxic. They're the most vivid, right, with their with the way that they communicate.
People
but
are
you're
so
not saying that it's a majority, right?
No. The problem is people have become so apathetic. When ArenaNet looks at the numbers, they're going to get the, oh yeah, everybody else agrees, because everybody's sort of just like, okay, this is what we're getting. They're not willing to,
because they're happy. They're happy with the content.
No. They're just there. They're content just to be able to log in. Look what happened as soon as ArenaNet, all those layoffs. The doomsayers came out, right? Game's going to die, blah, 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 blah,
Right,
blah.
and they're wrong.
Why is that not a big thing, Vallun? Because people showed up like me saying, quit doomsaying, you're a dumbass, you don't know what you're saying. And a lot of people showed up and said that. But the problem is, are people really happy with this casual of content that isn't even casual? It's just bland. It's not anything. You can't put a label to this content anymore. To say this is a casual game is a lie. There's no casualness. It's time filler. It's no more than an idle game at this point, right? I mean, you can label it that way. MMO, what? Where's the MMO? Raids? Maybe World versus World?
It's a fucking BR game, dude. It's just like Ashes of Creation. It's a fucking
I mean, let's all go to South Sun.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's go to South Sun. We will do freaking South Sun Survival. I think it's one of the best activities in this game. That's only introduced every 3 days.
So like, there's like an achievement to do South Sun Survival like a certain amount of times, right? And it's really high amount, right? But I've gone over that because I enjoy the game.
I love that game mode. I wish that
really
was
good.
more popular.
Like they need to see, that's what they need to do. They need to like create more incentive to go to these specific areas of the game, right? And that's kind of hard to do because then they're splitting their community more a little. Like, you know, the metas are good in my opinion, even though you don't think they are, because they do show you where all the people are and you can interact with them in some way, you know, even if it's just like, oh, I'm just pressing one while shit talking other people or whatever, like talking about the news or whatever, right? It is good that they're still like there together, but yeah, they need to, like you said, split it up and not be so zergy, and like instance content like that where you go into South Sun Survival, right? And there's like a maximum cap. I guess there's like a maximum cap to like a TD map as well, but it's not the same idea, right? But like a game of South Sun Survival is definitely more interactive than like pressing one on chat Garant.
Sure.
I just want to clarify. I don't think it's not that I don't like the metas, right? I think they're good. We're going to get into ANET potential. I think they could be better than good. I think they could be great. And I think that's probably my disappointment that's probably coming out of me through my anger about all this. But like the big thing, and the reason why I enjoy South Sun Survival, some of it is because the newbies coming in have no idea what they're doing, right? I can get like 17 kills, right?
Well, what's the opening strat? What's the meta opening strat?
For South
Let's see if you're actually professional at this game. What's the opening strat?
For South Sun, you grab the pistol first.
Okay.
The pistol.
All right, but what if you don't grab the pistol?
What's
the counter?
You freak out of dodge. You run away. You find some rations. You start looking for stuff. You need arrows. Really, you just need rations, and then you go hide in one of the top huts, and the Karka can't get you, and you just eat your rations till the last guy dies because the ghosts are going to find him and actually be able to trap him because he's probably the idiot running around in a circle. But I don't know. What's your strategy in South Sun?
No, I mean that's pretty correct.
It's correct.
Well, it's not correct, but it's good enough, right? I'm just trying to show that
such a casual
the game mode is actually somewhat, challenging, right? Like there's some kind of like play and counterplay to it.
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
I think that I'm trying to prove that it's good.
Something to it, but nobody knows it because nobody plays it, right?
I mean, I don't know. Ever since they did the thing where they rotate them, I haven't done a single activity because it's never the one that I want, and I don't check anymore because I don't know.
I hate Keg Brawl. You want to know why I hate Keg Brawl? Because everybody who has Keg Brawl done still shows up on that day to prevent people from winning. Like, I kid you not. They do not want people to have their achievement. You have
to win trade for that. You actually have to win trade.
Man,
I mean that's another skill that you have to learn in Guild Wars 2 is win trading, right?
Well, the win trading is a big deal.
Skillful. It's social engineering.
Oh, dude, win trading is a huge deal. You can get rank 1 very easily. You know, you can get monthly AT winning. You need to actually...
Buying alt accounts is
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
good for
What
the
does
game.
$400
It is.
Funding.
It keeps the game alive by having all those old accounts to win trade with, and buying monthly AT is no good, right? Because if you want to buy monthly AT, you have to spend $400 on something that isn't gems, isn't alt accounts, and that's no good, right? That's not gonna. So it's not going back into the game, like for the gizmo. So that's no good.
You get the chalk egg, right?
Yeah, Chuck Egg Sack.
We
That'll do it
lost
too.
a chalk egg because of that.
Yeah, Chuck Egg
That's the
Sack, dude.
worst
That probably got deleted. It probably got deleted or something. Yeah.
Apparently, Sinjiner said that he duplicated it because they rolled back his account and he sent the Chak egg. So
Whoa.
as like
It was an extra?
So they basically paid Sinjiner a Chak egg sack to get banned and unpartnered. I don't know. It's probably worth it, right?
Easy trade there, I guess. But no. Well, to go back to the point again, a little bit of a tangent here, guys. Just a little one. Yeah, it's not that the events are bad. The events are actually great. Like, all the events are really, really good. It's just that they just don't have any punch to them. Like, they all blend together, right? Because the mechanics in them just don't matter at all, right? Like, there's no real difference from fighting any boss in the open world, because you can just auto attack it to death, and if it kills you, doesn't matter. You'll just get revived up, right? That there's no urgency. That there's no challenge to it whatsoever. And I really disagree with it. There's I'm having an interesting conversation in the chat while we've just had some intense rants going on here. I think it's completely fine to actually mix open world with a bit of difficulty. In fact, I think it's desirable. It's if you focus on something like that, it's one of the unique features, like the unique selling points of Guild Wars 2, is that actually it has good open world content that's meaningful. In a lot of other MMOs, most of the open world content is typically solo, right? Like, you go around and you level up in the open world, you grind the mobs out, you do quests and stuff like that. But that's not the case in Guild Wars 2. In Guild Wars 2, there's actually the end game. There's a lot of end game stuff in the open world, right? There's to get loot, skins, you can gear up materials and stuff like that. It's all together as a group. But the thing is, it turns out that the group part of that is not relevant at all. Like, it might as well be bots, right? It might as well be a single player game with a bunch of bots running around at the end of the day.
Well, here's my suggestion then to make open world more challenging, because I don't agree that they should change and do stuff like where they change to Quaddle to like be more difficult than it already is. Well, than it is right now. Like, obviously before it was it was pretty base roll before. I don't even remember what it was like, but I remember just like auto attacking. Now it's good, but right, like I don't think it should be harder than it is now, even though it's even more like kind of face roll now. So my suggestion is kind of like the thing that we were talking about with like Zaishin quests before, is make like a daily. I mean, they could just do it with the daily panel, right? And make it so, you have daily to Quaddle, and then like you have people who are just doing the daily, and then you have like the hard mode daily, right? Which is like, do such and such event, and then you'll get an extra reward. So like, say for triple trouble, you would have to like run this many kegs. So you can't just sit there and like just hit the boss. You'd have to actually do the mechanic, right? And I don't know how you do it on Fire Elemental. Just that needs to be reworked, I guess. I don't know. On Tequaddle, I guess. What is the mechanic on Tequaddle? Just not die or something? I don't know. But like, basically make it so that the things that you need to do to interact with the thing become kind of like the hard mode. And I know this sounds kind of like participation rewardy, to like, oh, you just do the normal thing and that's like the hard mode reward. But like, you get the idea though, right?
Well, sure. But I think another implementation of this, and perhaps one that might be a bit easier and less complicated in a way, right? Especially for the developers to implement, is just like, why not make an event scale in difficulty as it progresses? Say, a meta event scales in difficulty as the meta event progresses, and then the better you do, the more rewards you get, or something like that, right? And then that's kind of like a scaling difficulty
sort of
almost.
Like TD, the new Hawk Lane. Sort of.
Not exactly. I guess more like something like Silver Waste, I suppose, right? Or Dry Top, right? Like the better you do, and the more events you can beat, the better off the reward you get, right? So suppose that you no, actually it's a lot like Triple Trouble, actually, in a way, right? Like, as if you kill one worm, you get the bronze chest, right? If you get two, you get the silver chest, and if you actually if you beat them all, right? If you fully kill them all, then you get the golden chest.
That's definitely a good example. Like TT is well designed, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a very well designed event, in my opinion. But like, suppose they added a new living story map, right? And if you are not organized at all, it's just a regular old pug map, right? And I don't know, you get the boss to say 50% health, right? Okay. Well, then everyone, it doesn't say fail. It doesn't say, nope, you guys suck. You're trash. You get nothing. You still get the chest, right? You get your daily reward, right? You get your thing for the living story, right? You get the thing that you can go, get those dwarf plates or whatever, whatever it happens to be on that map. You get some Kralkatite. You get some map currency, whatever it might be, right? But then if you're able to kill the boss fully, right, and you're able to kill it in, say, 5 minutes, right, in a relatively quick time, and it turns out, oh, okay, nice. Then you get then you get superior rewards, right? You get more of the map currency. You get maybe an achievement as well for something like that. Maybe there's even a chance to get some unique stuff, right, for doing better, right, like for killing it faster or not failing any mechanics, or like in this happens on Tequatl, right? There's an achievement for not letting any of the cannons die. Okay, something like that, that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. So that would be really, really cool, I think. Like scaling rewards on the performance of the group, I think will be a really good thing. And surely, guys, it wouldn't be a problem for the friendliest community in gaming, right? There's no way it could be a problem. And I don't think it would be either. Yeah, there's going to be some toxic assholes, but guys, we're on the internet. There's toxic assholes everywhere, like that's just how it goes. I mean, we can't really do much about that, really.
That brings me to something that I've been thinking about and discussing with some people. Do you think ArenaNet doesn't change these things and it has become very cookie cutter because they don't want to promote toxicity anymore? Do you think the reason why they're not creating more challenging open world content and releasing it to us is because they don't want this toxicity to grow? And is that why they also nerfed Istan? Because it was getting toxic in map chat when certain things were happening? I really worry that ArenaNet is afraid to... It's so weird because they find all these different ways to balance the game, but they're afraid to figure out how to stop the toxicity from happening and how to convince the players that working together is better than the alternative of someone in map chat just flaming people, right?
Yeah,
I think that happens. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no. You ahead, Van. You go first.
Yeah, I think that happens in like Orc Basin as well. It's just a byproduct of something that, whenever there's people there's going to be one dude who's toxic, right? I mean, I don't think that they're trying to actively avoid that. I think maybe you're just misrepresenting, as you said, the vocal minority. I would
say that ArenaNet really doesn't like this sort of thing. Actually, I think I'd actually be inclined to agree with Zorric here. I think they ArenaNet associates any level of competition, like anything competitive, right, or exclusive. They associate that with toxicity, and they think it is toxic. Actually, like if there's any level of exclusivity or well, I guess the word is technically discrimination here, right? Like if you discriminate based on player skill level, right, they think that is toxicity. Right, that is complete toxicity. So, in other words, if you do require players of a certain standard, then I think that ArenaNet view that as something that creates toxicity and shouldn't exist. Right, and yeah, And that's why you only get one raid a year, ladies and gentlemen. That's why. And why fractal challenge modes, that is dead. Okay? And why everything is so easy, because they don't want it to be competitive, right? They want everything to be like, yeah, let's all hold hands and just like AFK together, you know? That's the issue with so many people's definition of toxicity differs. I think toxicity is a giant meme, right? This is a slightly separate diatribe here, guys, but the origin of the word toxicity is actually from League of Legends, right? Like, this is where it became popularized because Riot Games like to use the word toxicity. But the trouble is, guys, okay, toxicity has changed from like hurling like the most horrific abuse at someone, which is completely not okay, guys, by the way, okay, and to the point where toxicity is now saying GGEZ, okay, right? Look, this is an online game. If I'm in a competitive environment, PvP, okay, 1v1, 5v5, that sort of thing, guys, okay? If I can't say GGEZ at the end of my game without being considered toxic, then what the fuck is wrong with our society, man? Okay, look at it. If you go in Overwatch, guys, and you try and say GGEZ, it literally censors you, right? Okay, like, I think if you just start saying that sort of stuff, like, you could actually get reported and get your chat muted in League of Legends for saying GGEZ. Like, that's toxicity now, right? And I'm sorry, dude, that is not toxicity. Like, talking shit in a video game, okay, is not toxicity, right? Like, well, within reason, okay, within reason. Like, absolutely, you know, if you're telling people to, you know, do some, like, I won't repeat some of the stuff that you could say, guys. Obviously, like, look, one of my boys, Nico, he got permabanned in Guild Wars 2. He probably said some fucked up shit. He probably deserved it, okay? I'm just gonna say that, right? You can use your imagination, right? You can use your imagination. He probably deserved it, okay? Look, you can't go too crazy. I completely, completely agree. Like, you know, but I'm sorry, guys. Like, competition is not toxicity. Okay, actually requiring some level of skill is not toxicity, right? It's ridiculous. Like, the standards for this stuff these days is absolutely insane. No, not SC Nico, guys. Okay, no, yeah, okay, yeah. Plenyx, I'm trying to get this dude list here. That's fucking good shit, dude. Okay, but I don't know, Plenyx, you're toxic. What do you think? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm sometimes toxic, but the thing is there. I'm trying to help people, but when I see that people are not interested in getting better, I am getting a little bit triggered, and that's where my toxicity comes from. When I see someone, as Zorric said, someone just pressing one, just holding it, is actually much more easier than pressing it. Then yeah, I'm gonna see that player.
Is that how you're helping them? Telling them that they can hold it?
I am forced to help them because, let's face it, without me, it would take longer, I guess. But the metas these days, without me, nothing would have changed that much. It would just take longer. But if we actually get, let's say, 5 good people and we do so high damage, let's say on Jack Garen, that we kill it the first try, that's fine. I think that's kind of funny because people are not expecting it. I love when people are panicking because South 1 burns on the it's so funny because people don't expect it, because everyone is expected to do a certain level of gameplay, which is 1, and it's literally pressing 1. And then you have people who actually press their buttons, and that's a completely different thing. The difference between pressing buttons and not pressing buttons in this game is so huge. People don't know what the abilities do most of the time. They just sometimes also, if they're playing Ranger, pressing longbow 2, pressing longbow 4 every time they see an enemy in box as well. It's very funny, like randomly getting one shot by a knockback. You don't see that much. Annoying a little bit, but I would say fix the people. I don't think there's anything we can do in the game to actually make the people force them to do it. If we introduce something much more difficult, people are gonna be like, it's difficult, not bothering, sorry, we'll skip on that. There's nothing else which would incentivize them to get better at the game besides them saying, you know what, I hadn't played this game at a high end, or at least mid-high end, at least trying to get better at the game. Let's try it once. Let's try some raids. Let's do some training raids. Something like that. I had a guy yesterday who never killed Doom. I thought he just never killed Doom CM. We almost killed it 3 times, but yeah, we panicked at the end. But still, that player, of course, he made some mistakes, but he learns. Like, he was incentivized to play that game mode and played well, and he learned it. Why can't the community do the same? But why is everyone thinking that I have to play this casually? There's nothing else in this game which is incentivizing me to play it a little bit difficult. I don't know.
I think ultimately this is where the conversation always goes, and this is where you're going to end up butting heads with ArenaNet. This is where you'll find that the veteran community does not want the same thing as the company, right? It's not necessarily that these things are impossible, right? Or you couldn't fix this, right? Like, it's more that ArenaNet have advertised the game and are developing the game to be this almost like escape from having to put any effort into it, right? And in a way, that's fine, right?
What do you mean by advertising it as that, though?
I think that's what the game is, in a way.
Right, but are you blaming ANET? Like, when you say advertisement, I think of like what? Okay, I also marketing is a bit of a meme, but like their marketing isn't really geared towards casuals necessarily, is it? Like, it's just kind of like a byproduct of that's the community, right? I think we have an issue with the community, not with the game or ANET, to be honest.
Well, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't think. Again, it's not anyone's fault, and it's not. Playing the blame game here is not something I want to do, and it's not anyone's fault, and it's not even a bad thing. This isn't a defect, right? This is you wouldn't. You wouldn't blame a fork for not being a spoon, right? I gave this analogy, and I'm tired, so I can't be bothered to come up with another one. Like, you don't look at a fork and go, "Wow, what a terrible spoon this fork is," do you? It's not. You can't just say that, "Wow, it's so bad at being something it's not." Right? That's not how it is, right? What I mean by that is
isn't that exactly how it is?
What do you mean?
You want to use the fork as a spoon, but it would be a terrible spoon, would it not?
It would be, but that's how it is, right? Like it doesn't matter how much you scream and shout. Like, the fork is not going to be a spoon.
Well, then why would you use the fork as a spoon?
Well, that's the problem, though. That's the problem, though. Is like, in a way, we're all trying to do that, right? We're all attempting to do it. And Arena is saying, like, "Hey, look, guys, we made you an amazing fork," right? And then we're all here saying, like, "Whoa, Arena, this isn't a spoon. What the fuck is this garbage?" Yeah, that's how it is, right?
But that's just the thing. I think people are trying to say, like, this is this, but they're still trying to use it as a spoon. And then some of them are trying to convince people that you can also use it as a knife, and then that the fork is good at just poking things, not actually scooping things, even though it's not a spoon. I mean, that was the whole reason I question it, is because, yes, it's a fucking fork. Can you please use... I mean, I just don't get why the community does that to itself. It just, like, the game is what it is. Why do you keep wanting it to be something it's not? It's not World of Warcraft. Well, just think of this, because I'm trying to prove a point here. MightyTeapot is 100% correct. You would not... A spoon would be better at scooping things, but a fork can, right? So this is going to go way off on a tangent here. So the fork is going to pick certain things up. Loot, some vertical progression, right? Those type of things. But it's not going to have the gear treadmill that you want. And if you keep asking ANET to add in that gear treadmill, it's never going to be your spoon, because ANET is so bent on making sure it's a fork. I don't know if I should say it that way, but that's just it. Plenyx, I'm so sorry.
I got lost. It's fine. Like,
yeah. But, like, that's just it. I think the community is so busy trying to make this fork into something else, and it's never going to be. And the toxic casuals, they definitely want that spoon. And it's killing me. It's killing me inside to think that people actually think Guild Wars 2 is going to change into WoW 2.0 or Final Fantasy 14's raid system or something like that. But I do think we can improve the fork if we can. But I don't think adding more things from other MMOs are ever going to be that solution. I mean, I just don't know how to say it right now. And this is what's been bothering me about this entire conversation. There is a problem, but it is not going to be solved just by the community alone, just by the vets alone, just by ArenaNet alone. We really have to get to a point where we're not apathetic is the word. It's just the word. Look at PvP. Look how diminished PvP is. Like, just people pointing out, like, what is it? 43 bots on the leaderboard right now? I mean, whose job is it to weed out the bots?
Are you counting me?
Okay, Vallun, please. I'm trying to make a point.
Yeah.
Are you a bot on the
Vallun
leaderboard?
is a bot,
I
guys.
might be. I might be considered one.
but like there why would you be confused? There shouldn't be confusion. And I think the reason why these bots are even on the leaderboard is because people aren't playing PvP. Or they're not playing at the level they could be playing because either ArenaNet's not giving us the tools or we're not using. I really feel like we do have a great game here, but everybody's just sort of going, it's a good game. I don't think it's going to be a great game. And it's just not true, right? We all know this.
Well, to go on the analogy, to continue the analogy, right? Like, the game from a distance, right, looked like a spoon, right? But then you play the spoon for like 4K hours and you realize it's been a fork the entire time, right? And sometimes you see a bit of spooniness, but it's mostly fork. And you kind of get baited into it and get really invested. And you realize, like, oh, shit, this really isn't going the direction I want. And then you realize that, oh, yeah, I guess you should probably just not. The game, ultimately... what this comes
this
down
analogy
to
really isn't doing it for me.
Okay. Well, what I'm trying to say is that ultimately, the game is not designed for players like us, right? And we're upset, right? Because we want it to be for people like us, especially.
But is that true?
Yeah.
I mean, I love the game. I have 11,000 hours. Does it mean that it's not for us? Or have we just played it to that point of no return? Have we just gotten to the point where there's just... How many times can you play something before you find it not fun anymore, type of thing? Like, are we to that point and we're confusing it with the fact that the game isn't for us? And in fact, it was for us, but now we have grown as gamers and now we're asking for the impossible. It's just like Raiders asking to raise a ceiling that just shouldn't be raised.
I don't think that that's a good argument because every time someone goes to another game, they're like, oh, this is worse. And then they come back to Guild Wars 2. And then they realize that they're not happy with either any games, right? So
I don't think that's true. I think Guild Wars 2 is such a great game. It's just that you've gotten to the point there's nothing left for you here.
Well, maybe they're not looking for a fork or a spoon. They're looking for, like, a magazine, you know?
The spork, man. That was the moment for the spork.
Well, okay, so the spork is ideal, right? It's the ideal MMO, right? But the sporks don't exist.
Oh shit! It doesn't exist. Nah, and it's a very fair point, and I think you are right in you are right, Zorric. There, no king rules forever, right? And I do think that a lot of us are kind of at the end of the chain, right? But something did change along the way, right? Like, there was a time where we were getting raids every 4 months, right? Where the living story was a bit more interesting. That is true. Like, the quality has declined and the direction of the game has changed. I think with Path of Fire, the game took a very obvious directional swing. Like, even before Path of Fire, really, actually, like, even towards like midway through Heart of Thorns, towards the end of Heart of Thorns, like it did change its direction a great deal, I think. And in a way that, you could argue that you got baited into thinking that it would get better, and the pendulum would swing back, but it isn't swinging back, and at this point, I don't think it is. I don't think it is really going to swing back at this point, and that's why so many people are quitting the game, because these communities, the veterans quit, right, and then a lot of the other veterans realize that the only reason they were playing the game is because they were playing with friends, right? And that triggers the decay of these communities, right? And they just evaporate, unfortunately. And it's a sad thing, guys. It's a sad thing with regards to Guild Wars 2. But no, certainly just because of playing it a lot, right, is 100%. We have played it a lot, and ultimately, it could just be that our time is up, really, to a certain extent, right? Yeah, there you go. That's it. Super Venture Box. Let's go. That's new. That's easy content, right? That's coming very soon.
What do you think? So we're getting Super Venture Box, and of course, we're going to do this partner thing, going through the living story, and then the next episode, right? That's what ArenaNet has pretty much just drawn out for us. So we've asked for them to tell us something on it this way. So we're getting Super Venture Box on the 28th. Then we're going to start this journey through the living story to catch people up. And we're going to obviously get episode 6, finish out this season. I don't think they're going into 5. They haven't said anything about that. I guess that's where we need clarification. Like is this 6? That would have been better, I think. But maybe they did. Never mind. But my question is, so they finished with episode 6. In this next episode, we're supposed to get a raid wing, right?
That's right.
So we're going to have that. What do you think is going to happen after that point? Because I think because now ArenaNet's going to be either refocused on Guild Wars 2 or doing something else with a group of people, right? So we don't know if it's going to be full 100% manpower into Guild Wars 2. All they've said is they're not giving up on the game. They're still going to be producing the content. So from there, especially with open world raids, fractals, and that kind of stuff, what do you see the rest of the year looking like after April, I guess? Because from there, we just don't know. We're going to have the festivals, of course. That's regurgitated cookie cutter maintenance type stuff, because we saw the new achievements come in. I'm sure Super Venture Box is going to have the same thing. So, yeah, where are we going? Where's the train stops here?
I honestly have no idea. I think it's almost impossible to predict what ArenaNet will do. There's certainly going to be a raid wing. I think that is more or less confirmed. Wing 7 is coming, and personally, I think it will be a continuation of Wing 6. Wing 6 ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, so I think we are going to see maybe like a conclusion to that, a bit of a 2-part story, because we've had a 3-part story with the initial raid wings, like Wing 1, Wing 2, Wing 3 were all together. Wing 4 was on its own. Wing 5 again was on its own. I think Wing 6 and Wing 7 will probably go together. But after that, I don't know. And to be honest, I'm not sure anyone knows that. I'm not even sure we have any decent grounds for speculation with regards to what's going to happen with Guild Wars 2 after episode 6. That's why I'm really waiting with bated breath for this one. Because in a way, what happens with episode 6 is really going to dictate my approach to the game in the future. Certainly, like when I will, one way or another, I think I'll be at peace after episode 6, right? Because I think ArenaNet will tell us what's going to happen or what's not going to happen, right? At the end of the episode, there'll probably be some kind of teaser, either for potentially even an expansion, like, because who knows, like with those Korean overlords over at NCSoft, right? Like breathing down ArenaNet's neck, and maybe they have actually decided they're going to do an expansion, and they're going to sneak out a cheeky expansion, or are there going to be new elite specs, right? I would expect to see those new elite specializations, like talk of, we need to learn new abilities to overcome this challenge, right, that we're facing Kralkatorek, right? I expect them to tell us, right? But to be honest, I wouldn't even want to guess right now. Personally, well, if you put a gun to my head and told me you have to give an answer, I would say it will be season 5, and there'll be elite specializations coming out with it, right? And unfortunately, I would predict that the game will be more or less the same going forwards. And, well, certainly with regards to raids, I think the future of raids is very questionable. I'm not sure if there'll be another raid after this raid, but I don't think anything will change. I think ArenaNet is kind of happy with how the living story is right now and how the open world is and how the content is going. So I don't think it will change in that regard, but I think we may get elite specializations because that's a big draw. It's a really difficult thing. Now, in a way, I feel really bad for ArenaNet because I think the ideas they have are actually really good. But people are so locked into the paradigm of expansions that I think they'll be less successful even though their ideas are superior, right? Now, what do I mean by that? Now, I really like the idea that ArenaNet have of almost like little feature packs, right? So they ship constant improvements to the game. They're shipping like new elite specializations, new mechanics to the game, right? But they don't call it an expansion. They're just going to do it with living story, right? They're going to do it with that. They're going to integrate it into the patches in between, like periodically, like a new raid, new fractal, blah 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 blah. But the thing is, for whatever reason, like that is it's almost like a really tough sell, right? It doesn't excite people in a way of dropping it in the same way that dropping it all at the same time does, right? Just saying like, wow, new Guild Wars 2, new expansion. There's something about that makes people feel, wow, dude, Guild Wars 2 is alive, man. Guild Wars 2 is back. Like, let's get back in on that action, right? And I think that's a real shame because I think ArenaNet's idea of shipping expansion level features gradually and progressively as the year goes around is actually a superior model. I think the expansion model is outdated. I think it is actually a relic. It is a relic of a bygone era. And they're right. But again, it's just another one of those things. Like ArenaNet are a bit ahead of their time in a lot of their practices, in my opinion. But it might unfortunately not. The public might not be ready for it. Okay, let's just say that. What do you guys think is going to happen?
Yeah, being said on the last raid for me as well. I don't see Wing 8 happen anytime. And I'm hoping for an expansion right after 6th episode, but that's like the purest optimism I can have at this point. The worst pessimism would be just season 5 and then hello, alliances are out, and you know what? Yeah, we're not gonna release any content besides some and go full maintenance after that. That's like my pessimism way, but optimism, I still hope that there is a future in this game, at least in some point. Like, what I found most fun in this game is just the interaction between people overall. So, if people will be playing it, I'm gonna have fun. My point of view there. Anyone else? Please, so that I don't sound like an idiot.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much like the whole point of like an MMO. Isn't that kind of like what they were trying to sell it on with the whole like the Guild Wars 2 friendships shit or whatever, like the whole social aspect. So yeah, I think I don't know what Plenyx was trying to say with that. I mean, he just, that's what he likes to do, so he's going to be in the game no matter what they do. And
if people are approachable, like the game is going to be fun to me. If let's say I'm in a PvP match and I'm not being called dipshit, yeah, that's already way better than what is happening this time. So yeah, I that's fine, I guess. I don't know where I want to see the game at this point. It's just, yeah, I have no idea at this point. I believe that something is coming and that's it.
I mean, it's kind of like a joke, but like the whole friendships thing, but it's right. Like, you don't play an MMO for the solo content. You play it for the community. Yeah, and that's like why we're having such issues with the community here, because that's why we're here. But as far as me, like I hope that ArenaNet goes into like feature pack mode and just improves their game. Like I said last TeaTime, improve what they already have existing in the game. And elite specs, they can come like whenever. I don't think we need those like nonstop. We don't need new maps. We like just need the content to be more replayable, as I said, like hard modes, what I say, CMs, repeatable CMs, and stuff like that. What was I gonna say about what I think they're doing? Yeah, I don't know. ArenaNet is probably just they're just gonna keep doing the like living world thing, even though I think that that's wrong. I don't agree with the whole living world, but I think that that's kind of like what they get the best results on. So it's kind of like creating a new YouTube video. You get like more numbers, more subscribers for each video you come out with. Whereas like if I'm like a YouTuber and I go back and like put good descriptions on all of my old YouTube videos, it makes those videos better for viewing, like if I put timestamps and stuff on them, right? But it doesn't really get me more views, right? So it's kind of sad the way how like the whole industry has evolved, right?
Yeah, and this is why it's you don't. Well, I think that's a good idea. A good point about why you can't really place the blame, right? Like these two, these problems have evolved alongside each other, right? Like ArenaNet's development practices with regards to like more single player content and just constantly moving ahead and not really going back to fix things, right? Is a consequence of the way everyone the gaming industry is, right? Like all those pro gamers, right? They want it now and they want it to be perfect first time, no fuck ups, just get it right. What are you doing, ArenaNet? Get it done, right? And that kind of impatience, right? That expectation of perfection is a bit of a damaging one, right? And I think it has it's caused ArenaNet to certainly not communicate, right? Because if they ever do anything wrong, they get their heads bitten off by the rabid community. But I mean, well, I guess that's us, though, if you really think about it. So we're part of the problem here, boys. So what can I say? I don't know. Zorric, what do you make of the future of the game? What are you predicting here?
I'm sort of with Plenyx here. I'm hoping there's a surprise expansion. That's what I've been hoping. I hope episode 6, and they're like, hey, you guys got 2-3 months to get ready for this expansion we've been secretly working on. I'm in that very positive state, but there's just now this aching feeling like it's gonna be exactly packs episodes, which aren't gonna be. It's not a horrible thing. I just need something to disrupt the monotonous stuff that's happening right now, and expansion would be welcomed in that for sure. Especially as a content creator, I think expansions really do well for us. But as you said, I think the living story, the way they do it, is the future of gaming. To have and it's been here for a while, actually. It's been here, to look at battle passes and things like that. It's these things that every year something's happening, but the game really isn't changing except throughout that year. And it's whether you have access to it or not, or you were playing at the time. That's the other big argument is living story. If you weren't here for it, you have to pay for it. And us veterans, we're always here for it. But a new player has to come in and buy that stuff. It is DLC technically after the fact, and they have the packages and things. So I really wonder, like, if they continue this, are they making more money off of this DLC than they would in expansion? And looking at their numbers last year and looking probably where their numbers are going to be this first quarter, which I don't know since the layoffs. But looking at that kind of stuff, I really question if not doing an expansion is good for them. Or the bigger argument there about the expansion is, are they gonna have enough stuff for it? Are they gonna charge us $30 to $50 for enough content? And even Path of Fire, though, being $30, I think that's a right number now. And it was very surprising then, right? They gave us like a couple months to get ready for it, and they're just like, oh yeah, $30. That's all we're asking this time. So I really wonder if the living story is providing them that that financial model. And people like me, we're just looking for a little more old school. You know, we're looking for the expansion. We're looking for, you know, I don't know. I really don't know at this point. It's not so much the rewards anymore as it is something to do that's fun with other people. So again, with Plenyx, I just want people to enjoy the game, and I want to enjoy it with them. And right now, for me, it's just not there as much. But I hope whatever happens after episode 6 sort of brings people back and makes them want to play, so I can get back into it myself and not feel like, is this a time for a break? You know, if they do episode 6 and they're like, oh yeah, we don't have any, we're just moving on to the next episode, cookie cutter. I don't know. I really don't know what I'm gonna do. So that's where I'm at with you, Teapot. Like, this is
that would be worst case, right? That really would be worst case. And I certainly Sorry, Val, go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of remember what I was going to say, because we had this kind of already happen with the last patch. If you remember, it was expected for like 5 weeks in a row, and then like the first week we're like, maybe, you know, next week the patch comes out, and the next week comes, and then we're like, maybe next week it'll be out, you know, and we keep saying, oh, if the patch doesn't come out this Tuesday, I'm quitting, and then, you know, oh, it's delayed due to weather, oh, it's delayed due to layoffs, right? Like, we had this like long hiatus of interaction with the developers, and people are still here. So I don't know. I think that like the game can really survive without that much content.
It will. It absolutely will. Like this game is fine as it is. Like, this is one of the, certainly if you're in a certain community, like maybe if you play PvP, things look a little grim. Certainly if you play raids, things look pretty fucking bad right now. But like for the majority of players, you're absolutely A-okay, right? Like, the game is not dying at all. If anything, it may even be growing, honestly, because every time an MMO dies, when World of Warcraft does something stupid, okay, Guild Wars 2, that's a bunch of new players, you know? Whenever ESO, people get bored of ESO, like, they just come over to Guild Wars 2. Like, BDO just pissing you off? No problem. Guild Wars 2 is still here for you. And that is Guild Wars 2's business model. Like, Guild Wars 2's business model is not as shit as the other guy. Okay? Like, that's basically that's how they market their fucking game, dude. And you know what kills me is how effective that is. Like, it's this game is
safe choice.
Yeah. This game is so good.
The other guy just absolute trash.
Yeah.
That should be their motto. They should just come out and say it. Mike O'Brien should be like, don't worry, no expansion, but the other guys, they're going to fuck it up one day, and we will be here. Same content, still enjoyable. So come on back when you're ready. And they'd probably bank. They'd probably make another $76 million this year alone just with that.
Yeah. Yeah. When I do really hope that there is another MMO coming out soon, okay, that's actually good, right? So I can play Guild Wars 2 as it's intended, right? Seriously.
Yeah.
When that happens, I'm probably gonna have a lot more fun in the game, actually, and I'll appreciate it for what it is, because it really is an incredible product. And we do complain about it a lot, but it is a really good game, and it will survive, right? It will survive no matter what, because it is very good. Right,
but I mean, all things must die eventually. I mean,
yeah, like Guild Wars 1, right? I mean, that's gonna be here.
So it's not hard to realize, like, hey, maybe they should be putting their eggs in other baskets, because no matter what they do, Guild Wars 2 will eventually.
Oh, I don't disagree. Oh yeah, I do not disagree at all, Vallun. I really hope they are developing something else, and to be honest, I'm excited for whatever that is, right? Whether if they decide to tell us that or not. But to be honest, I don't see any reason why Guild Wars 2 has to die, in my opinion, right? I think Guild Wars 2 is one of those games that can actually stand the test of time. I don't think it would, it could go on for almost indefinitely, in my opinion, right? Because of how good its systems are, right? Like how it can sustain players.
Like it's still very modern. Like the technology would have to really improve a lot for it to be outdated. So yeah, I mean you're.
Yeah, no, but you are right though. You are right. I mean, they are a company and they have to be savvy, right, with their practice, so that of course they have to they have to move on at some point, right? Like they can't, no, not even someone like Blizzard, right? Like people say Blizzard, well, World of Warcraft is like that. Well, but Blizzard also has a lot of other IPs as well, right? You have Diablo, StarCraft, the Warcraft RTS games, for example, right? Fucking Overwatch, Hearthstone, right? So it's not that they have that, well, that's like Guild Wars 2 Hearthstone coming right up, boys. Okay, that'll be fun. But yeah, it's a shame. It is a shame. Like when I hope to still enjoy Guild Wars 2 in the future, but I think it is a very special thing. And Vallun was talking about how the player base will survive even if it does get delayed. I think this is different though. This is a very pivotal moment for ArenaNet episode 6. I think it is a huge deal because this is going to, in my opinion, it might not be a literal roadmap. Okay, but it's going to be a symbolic roadmap, right? When this patch drops, right? I'm pretty sure that we are going to have a pretty good idea of what the future holds for Guild Wars 2 when episode 6 drops. And I don't have leaks, guys. I wish I did. Seriously, like this. I'm not even fucking around here, dude. Okay, I wish we got leaks, right? I wish we got hard fucking leaks. Because I know this is bad of me. I know this is so bad of me. But when I saw like the leaks for Path of Fire, for the elite specs, I was actually really excited. I was like, oh my god, dude, this is awesome, right? This is so fucking sick. All right. I was excited, man. I think leaks can almost help with a lot of this stuff in a way, anyway. In a way. I realize it's bad, but come on. Come on, give me those leaks, man. No, I wish I knew something about episode 6. I really do, guys. Because I just want to know. I really want to know. Like I am excited for all the wrong reasons. Okay, about this, about the next episode, right? I just want to know how it's gonna go. And that is why it is a bit of a do or die, sink or swim. I really hope ArenaNet delivers and they really hype up the community for what they have in store for season 5 and the future of the game, because I think if they don't, that's when you will that's where you will start to see a fall off, in my opinion, right? Especially from the veteran community. I think the veteran community will start to crumble if we don't get some good news. When episode 6 drops. So that's what I'm going to say about that, really. Yeah, but we'll see. We will see. I think that'll about do it.
Everyone ranted, so it's fine.
Yeah, I had a bit of the old rant time. Nothing wrong with that, boys. Going a bit crazy, bringing a bit of that energy. But yeah, wow. I mean, what an interesting tea time. I think we had a good conversation. It certainly meandered a little bit. But hey, I know that's what you guys watch for. Let's be honest here. I know you guys fucking love that shit. So I think it is time to thank our wonderful guests here, guys. Okay, be sure to roast them in the comment section. I can't wait to read the YouTube comment section, man. Like this one's gonna be gold. This one is actually gonna be gold. Yeah, don't worry. You can write those mean comments, and we'll be sure to all respond to you. Okay, like with extra sass, right? Especially Plenyx, you gonna respond to the comments, YouTube comments? You gonna see this shit?
No, I don't. I do read them and take it as a constructive criticism, but that's basically where my line ends, because engaging into another conversation can be taken as basically them proving their point and me being whatever they were trying to prove.
Plenyx just go in on them. Just like yell Plenga at them, right? Like yell it. Just yell it at them.
There's no reason, no point of doing that. If they think that I'm incorrect, then yeah, give me an argument. So let's have a conversation about it.
You want debate. You want debate.
I don't specifically want to debate. But let's say we can exchange opinions better than just saying, I shouldn't be here because X reason. All right, what is that really that reason, or am I just looking like an idiot, or something like that? Or am I like a shill when I'm kind of trying to point out that I have ArenaNet T-shirt with giant Gilbert?
Whoa, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah,
dude, Bick was wrong.
Get a T-shirt?
It was Plenyx this whole time. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, I'm paid. I'm a shill. Yeah,
paid shill. An actual paid shill. Unbelievable. Yeah. Wow.
How much was it? $400? Is that the number? That it.
What? No. In fact, I haven't received anything. Anything I'm trying
Yeah,
to
but
do.
you have to say that, right?
Oh yeah, because
All right, yeah, I was paid. Yeah,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, it's not
Instantly, as
good.
soon as I got that partner link set up, right, I instantly saw so many people bought the Ultimate Edition. Like, oh my god, I got the money.
Oh yeah, you
so
got
good.
that big money, you
Yeah.
got that cash, yeah.
Yeah, if only I could actually take that cash and actually buy a better internet, so my stream is not lagging as every single time as it is recently, which is a little bit annoying. But yeah, that does help a lot of. I guess.
Alrighty then. So, tell you what, let's initiate the shilling. Returning. It is actually Plenyx. Plenyx. Okay. What are you up to these days? Okay, what's going on with on the Plenyx stream? You got that new emote. Why don't you tell us about the new emote situation?
Pointless. No. It's people think it's good. I don't see it why. But alright. And what I do on my stream, well, I stream raids most of the time. If you join my raids, I probably will yell at you unless you actually explicitly tell me that you're new to the game. Yeah, that's basically what my stream is and what it. I'm trying to change it based on the other feedback people are giving me, and the last two streams were really good. Actually, I did enjoy them, and I think everyone who watched enjoyed that as well. So, yeah,
Wow.
That's me.
Well, there you go. All right then. So, moving on, we also have some other individuals here, of course. We have returning 2 tea times in a row. Okay. And I'm just going to, having Vallun here triggers people, so I'm just going to keep having him on tea time, I think, because that actually really entertains me. The master of debate. Okay. The master debater himself. It is Vallun, dude. Okay. What are you up to these days?
So, contrary to popular opinion, I actually do stream PvE. I used to be a main PvE streamer, one of the very first raid streamers. But nowadays, I'm more into PvP. I do off-meta builds. The only Renegade streamer, by the way. So, also, if you send me Black Lion keys, I'll play whatever build you want me to play. Or I'll theorycraft one using your theme. So there's that. Yeah, that's about it. I do some YouTube videos, guides on how to play and, understanding the idea of conquest and rotations. You can find my YouTube somewhere on my Twitch channel. That's about it.
There you go. Get on that action, guys. And finally, the top right, the rant god, okay? Bringing the anger, bringing the salt. It is Zorric.
Yep. Yeah, I'm a little angrier this time. I don't know. But yeah, you can find me here on Twitch, twitch.tv/angryzorric. I play Guild Wars 2 at least once a week right now. Open world, farming, trading post stuff, that kind of stuff. I have Black Lion key openings. My YouTube has slowed down, but if you can sub over there, that'd be great. And I have a Twitter, and we have a Discord and stuff for the Salt Cube Factory if you're interested in that. But other than that, I show up on other people's streams, rant, and that kind of stuff. So if you like that, you should just pop over to the Salt Cube Factory. That emote, man, I tell you.
Yeah, well, links to all these guys can be found below the stream, guys. The fucking Plenga is moving all over the place there. Be sure to check out all these amazing content creators, guys. They are absolutely fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed the show that we have put on for you guys today. And of course, if you like the stream, guys, follow the stream. If you really like the stream, subscribe, guys. Look at all, you know what? We've got some good emotes too, guys, okay? I mean, look at this one, like Teapot, fucking Teapot hee. I mean, look at that shit, dude. That's a good one, right? That's Teapot leech, right? Like, if you ever wanted to call your friends leeches, right now you can, right? Well, by subscribing it. You can even do Teapot weird, okay? Teapot weird is a pretty good one too, guys. So yeah, follow, subscribe, okay? Give me that cash, guys. Give everyone here that cash, right? Like, Lord only knows we need it, okay, to continue playing Guild Wars 2. Like, at this point, yeah, like, you do need to get paid. Yeah, like, the only people left in this game are paid shills. Look at it, you know, Jaw, me, Plenyx, Vallun, all paid shills, guys. Like, this is known. Like, we know this. Like, we know this, guys, right? At the end of the day, this is what it is, okay? Full sellout, guys, okay? Get those subs. Get those memes, okay? So... thank you guys for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the stream. I stream every day, so you can come back and watch every day. So, yeah. Enjoy all of that, guys, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys for watching, and see you guys later, okay?